Hello, Amber Lee. Welcome to the Feminine Frequency Podcast. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to this conversation for a while now and was really grateful to be on your podcast and really looking forward to talking all about your platform, Chakra Girl Co., and talking about your podcast and all the things that you love around abundance and manifesting and all the things. So thanks for being here.
Thank you. Excited.
Yeah.
These are the topics we all want to hear about right now.
Totally. Yeah. So I just love your brand and your platform and your message. And so I'd love to start by learning more about you and learning more about how you got to this place of, being a voice of consciousness and of sharing around abundance. So let's start with, how did the Chakra Girl name come to life?
So I was a hot mess in my 20s, as many of us are. And I was just on my own kind of journey and on my own kind of quest to find information on how to feel better, how to heal my anxiety, how to feel better in my body, how to, find my purpose and find my voice. And I was going to yoga and, doing all that kind of stuff. And I started going to meditation classes, and I noticed that it was very hard for me to sit in silence and to be still with myself. And I noticed very quickly that I felt like it was hard to breathe. Like when they would tell us, okay, breathe, all the way into, to your toes, I would be like, what the hell are you talking about? How is anyone going to do that? Like, I felt like no connection to my body. And what I found was most apparent was that I had like a constant lump in my throat. And so I asked the teacher, like, what is going on? Why am I always I was always like, like coughing and like clearing my throat every time we were like silent. And I was like, why is that? And so she told me, it's probably a blocked throat chakra. And I had no idea what that meant, but I immediately like did a deep dive and was Googling it and looked into everything. And I found throat chakra crystals. I found throat chakra meditations, and I created my own little healing ritual. And I healed my own block within just a few days, like less than 2 weeks. I did this ritual every day and I healed that. And then I was like, what else can I fix? Like, what else is going wrong in my life? And what I realized is that when I healed that block, I knew it was more than just that physical discomfort that I was healing. When we unblock our throat chakra, that's when we actually access our full potential, our purpose, our desire to share something with the world. So as soon as I like, no one was really talking about this stuff then. This was like, oh my God, like at least probably 10 years ago. And even like Gabby Bernstein I didn't know who she was at the time. And anytime that you tried to find information like this online, like it was super unrelatable. Like it was some old, 100-year-old man in an ashram telling you how to live your life. And I'm like, he doesn't get it. Like, we don't have anything in common, me and this guy. Like, so I was like, I want to be the voice for the modern woman. And I want to teach people how to heal themselves in the ways that I've healed myself. And originally I launched a jewelry business. My background was in fashion. So I launched a crystal and gemstone jewelry business to heal modern girl problems. So we had like a hangover bracelet and like a shopaholic bracelet, and we made it like fun and cute and like relatable so that people didn't feel intimidated by it, or didn't feel like it was daunting, or didn't feel like it was judgy. Because I felt like a lot of the stuff out there was a little holier than thou and not relatable for the modern woman. So what I found really quickly was that it wasn't, no one cared that much about the jewelry, but they cared about the chakras and the purpose piece. And they would ask like, I want to find my purpose. I want to start a business. How did you unblock your chakras to start a business? And so I, really sat down and went through like the steps, like, okay, how did I do this? And I realized that as each step of your business is related to a different chakra. and you need to unblock your chakras in sequence as you're building your business. So it was like when I built the foundation of my business, I had to work on my root chakra. When I built my brand, I had to work on my sacral chakra. When I actually like put it all together and like was doing the work, I had to access my solar plexus. And so it was like, wow, like the energies that are within us that are already there are the things that will catapult us into our purpose. So it really transformed quite quickly into something totally different than I initially thought it was going to be. And yeah, we've helped like hundreds of women, oh my God, probably thousands now of women clear their chakras and launch their businesses. And it's been a wild journey for the last 5 years now.
Thanks so much for sharing. Yeah, I love the connection that you make between like the luxuriousness and spirituality, and that they don't have to be one or the other, but that they can actually be both, and how relatable that is for a lot of people. And maybe for some people, that's not their thing. And also, there are a lot of people who that can be such a beautiful gateway to the deeper spiritual work when we pair it with something that is relatable or familiar with them. So I love that the jewelry was a gateway, and that people are wanting more. People are wanting to go deeper. There's a lot of healing that gets to happen on this planet. There's a lot of people who are in pain and struggling with, like you said, anxiety, health issues, things that they might not even know that they're struggling with. And I love that you're using the chakras to give them access to deeper connection to themselves. So let's talk more about increasing your chakra sensitivity and the receptors for your chakras. Like, how do you expand those? How do you connect more deeply? And for people who are new, there's not a lot of people who are new to like personal development on this who are listening, but for people who are new, tell me more, tell about like what a chakra is and why it's important to balance your chakras.
Yeah, so we can all agree that everything is energy and that our frequency is what creates our physical reality. So our chakras are those main energy points, and the Sanskrit meaning of the word chakra is spinning wheel. So the energy needs to be spinning in unison, and that's how we get that high vibration. So our chakras are like what transmit and what receive that energy. They're transmitters and they're receptors. So in order to expand what we receive in our lives, and that doesn't just mean like money or, material things. I'm talking about love. I'm talking about freedom, bliss, purpose, you know, any of those like amazing, kind of heart-centered realities that we want to live in, and those timelines that we want to live in. It's up to us to first operate at that frequency. So when I talk about whenever I talk about manifestation or expanding our ability to receive, it's about expanding our frequency first. So money and things like that are not the creators of, money doesn't create love. It doesn't create bliss. It doesn't create freedom. It doesn't create purpose. It can amplify those things, and it can allow for more of them if we've assigned a high frequency to money. But if we want to receive more abundance or more of those feelings, then we are the creators, and our chakras are the transmitters of love, freedom, purpose, and bliss. So if we make those energies our intention every single day, then we open up to more of those. We open up to more abundance, and we open up to this capacity where our desires or the timeline that we desire to live in of our lives, and we when we close our eyes and we see this life that we want, and the impact that we want to make in the world, like our chakras act as like a GPS system to magnetize that to us, to really pull it in. So when we keep our chakras clear and active and vibrating at a high frequency, then it literally like activates that magnet, and we can receive more. So it's like the more, I always like relate it to the heart chakra. The heart chakra is there's kind of like 3 touch points, because it runs through our right hand, our left hand, all the way down our arms and through our heart. So on every exhale, we can imagine that we are, through our right hand, giving. The right hand is the masculine, that's the giving, that's the taking action, that's the showing up. That's the vibrating outwardly. And then that vibration kind of scoops around and touches all the people and, does all the amazing things that we're doing in the world. And then to receive, that's the left hand. So then we're receiving in through the left hand. So in order to be open to receiving, we need to know our worthiness. We need to, trust that we can receive. We have to be open to receive. And then the receiving happens. And then we get to the core center, which is the heart. And then that is where we feel the gratitude. That is where we, do the self-love and the self-care. And then the more we do that, the more we can give. The more we give, the more people we touch, the more we receive. And it goes in like this loop that is like, that's why when people say like heart-centered, this is really what I think of is like, to expand what we receive, it's about expanding what we give and expanding what we give to ourselves and the gratitude that we feel for it.
I love that visualization and that practice of not just thinking about the heart chakra as in the center of your chest, right? The Anahata chakra, and but really thinking about it through the palms of our hands. I love that visualization. Thank you. Yeah. So what do you feel, what are some of the things that might have someone's chakras be blocked or not be clear and active? What are some of the things that really block these different energy centers?
Yeah. So, anything that's going on in your life that feels misaligned, that's a chakra block. Like there is a chakra that is involved in that situation. But yeah, it can be anything from physical pain to trauma to old beliefs to, something that was passed down from your ancestors. It can be like some kind of like karmic lesson from, past lives. So it's like, I feel like the years of there's nothing wrong with talk therapy, but I feel like the truth is like, it's so much more about like releasing those things than it is about necessarily having to like learn new things. So we can look at, okay, what is, where am I feeling blocked? And if we can kind of like identify it, then we can release it. And it's that easy. And sometimes we can't. Sometimes it's something from a past life and I don't know, if you haven't done a past life regression, then you can't identify it, but you can still release it. And that's why with chakra work, it's so powerful, because the mental elements of like knowing what it is and doing the mindset work, like that's only one branch, because there's like the mental work, there's the physical work. So if you have a block, like a physical block, are you getting massage? Are you stretching that area? And then there's the soul level, which is things like meditation, shadow work, that kind of thing. And then there's the energy side, which is things like crystals, Reiki, tapping, anything that is actually like changing your frequency. So yeah, it's like really anything can block you, but everything is unblockable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I would love to hear from your experience too with clearing your chakras. Is this like a daily thing that you're doing? Are you tuning in each day and have like a practice around checking in? Like, tell me a little bit more about at this point in your practice, because clearly you've been doing this for a long time and have lots of rituals. Like, what does that look like for you now?
I think what I would first say is like for people who are just starting, I would say make sure you touch on mind, body, soul, energy each day. And I do that, but not as an intentional way. But like, and that's what I love about the chakra system. And that is that people who are used to like a little bit more of like a linear way of thinking and they want like a process and a method, like that's why it's so good, because it's like, okay, do those 4 things for your mind, do some journaling or do some mantra, or some reading, for your soul, do the meditation, for your energy, do some tapping, for your body, do some stretching. So it's like, if you could do all that, you could literally do all that in 7 minutes. You can be like, okay, targeting the root chakra today. I know it's feeling off, I'm gonna, do root chakra meditation, blah, 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 blah. Now it's a little bit, it's easier. Like I can identify immediately, okay, what am I, what's feeling off today? Where am I feeling out of alignment? And I'm doing so much more proactive things as well. So, there's crystals everywhere, I'm working out and moving my body every day. I'm intentionally, like, I know the areas that have kind of more tendency to get stuck. So I'm doing specific exercises for that. So it's more about like the proactive stuff now. And then when something does come up, then yeah, like I have all of those tools and I just kind of diagnose what I need in the moment.
Yeah, it seems like maybe a little bit more of like an integrated approach than like a structured practice.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think whenever you're starting with a new practice, having that structure and having a formula, if there
Mhm.
is an actual formula, I mean,
Yeah.
everyone's different, but having some guidance and having something that you can go to and practice and do as a ritual, I think is so helpful. But as with any other practice, it then gets to become your own and you get to make it your own and figure out what works for you and your flow, and the rigidity of it gets to shift.
Totally.
hmm Yeah, amazing. So let's tie this in with abundance and manifestation, because I know that that's a topic that you love and that you're amazing at as well. And, um, through chakra balancing, aligning, activating your chakras, clearly that increases your frequency, which we know a lot about the frequency here on this podcast. But tell me more about how you view manifestation, specifically around whether it be abundance or material things. Like, what's your perspective and your thoughts around how to manifest?
Yeah. So I do. So I feel like I said with the rituals too, like there's a linear approach, but then it's not about here's a 7-step process. Like it's, yeah, like our thoughts become our thoughts become our emotions, which become our frequencies. So that is linear in that sense, being able to kind of, target what's kind of going off and then course correct from there. But similar to what I was saying before, like abundance is not about money. Like it's about freedom, love, bliss, and purpose. So implementing that into your day every day, living a life where freedom, love, bliss, and purpose are like the pillars. Then when it comes to like the luxury, the money, one thing that like the first thing we need to identify whenever we want to manifest something is am I manifesting this for my soul, or am I manifesting this for validation, or from a place of fear, or from a place of if I don't have this it means this about me, and if I do have it it means this about me, like labeling ourselves based on material, not even necessarily material, or what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of something that like labels you in some way. That's not the truth. Like that's always ego, right? If we're wanting it from that place. That doesn't mean that's wrong. That doesn't mean that's bad. If you're like, damn, I really wanted that like new hot bag of the season, like, does that make me a bad person? No, that does not make you a bad person. But what that means is, can you dig deeper? Can you look at like, okay, how can this amplify? How is this version of me that I want to become or that I want to embody? How is this item going to amplify that at a soul level? And I truly do believe, like when we think of ancient goddesses, they were like adorned in these like jewels and like lush, rich fabrics. And if that is something that we apply or that we assign high frequency to, like when I think of those things, I like them. They make me excited. So if that's what we've decided about those things, we know that the more excited we get and the happier we are, then the more of those things are going to come into our lives. So if we can think of that kind of goddess version of ourselves and that embodiment and what's going to amplify the amazing parts of us that already exist, like these are the things that make me feel like a goddess, and these are the things that make me feel even more like a goddess if I were to have them. And that's where I say to look at it, and it's only for you. And I always say like a real quick way to check if you're like, I don't know, am I wanting this for validation? If you've already been daydreaming about posting it on social media, then you need to do a little bit of soul work on it. Like, and I've done that before too. Like, oh, I'm gonna like when I bought my first designer bag, I was like, I would like visualize like me posting it on social media and like wanting it to be cool, and that wasn't wrong. And some people are there on their journey, and that's 100% fucking fine. But if you want to like amplify your manifestations, you need to go deeper than that. And it's not saying you shouldn't want it or that it shouldn't make you excited. It's just saying you need to focus on what it amplifies for you in a different way, not what other people think of you or what it means about you.
Yeah, that shift from the ego manifestation to soul manifestation
Yeah.
is really important, because I do see a lot of people trying to manifest certain things because of the validation, or because they think it would make them happier or feel better. And again, there is nothing wrong with that. And if you're wondering why your manifestation hasn't been coming true, this is a really great first place to start, like you said, to check in, like, where is this coming from? And if it is ego based, then can you see if you can activate the frequency like you're talking about? Okay, how would this enhance my life if I did have this thing that I do truly desire? Can you tie it back into who you would become with that? You
Yeah,
know?
like what does it mean for you? What does it mean for everyone else? Like, okay, I know that when I present myself in a certain way with a certain amount of confidence, with a certain amount of like high vibration, because I feel like this goddess, then I know that I inspire more people. I know that I show up more. I know that I am operating at a higher frequency, which elevates the collective. Like if we can look at it in that way, and that's not tricking yourself. Like that is the truth. Like when we're in, for some people, like if that truly, like I said, my background was in fashion. I've always been, since I was like, I had a subscription to fashion magazines for my birthday in grade 3. That's all I wanted, was like subscriptions to fashion magazines. And I would like cut out the pictures, and I would like make little matching games and try and remember who the designer was for each dress. And like, that to me is art. That to me is beauty. And it just feels good to my soul. And that's the place where I want everyone to come from. It's like, it's not for you to make anyone think differently of you. And I love what you said about, that's like that's kind of the hook, right? So it's like, if you're not doing much spiritual work, or you haven't really done much inner work, or you haven't really done much work around your worthiness, and you're starting to get like manifestation again, is kind of like that gateway drug, right? You're like, oh, I want to get nice things. What do I have to do? And then it forces you to kind of like peel back those layers and be like, oh, well, why do I want this? Who am I trying to impress? Why do I want to impress them? What is that all about? And then you do the inner work around that. It doesn't mean that you can't still have the thing, or you shouldn't want the thing. It just means you're going to want it from a different place, which is actually going to make you get it faster.
Yeah, amazing. So, when it comes to money, and specifically your journey with abundance, have you always felt like you've had an abundance mindset? Has this been something that you've had to really shift over time? I'd like to hear more about your story and your journey with creating the brand and the
Yeah.
lifestyle that you have now.
I definitely have not always had an abundance mindset. Like I was like one step away from filing for bankruptcy. Like I was like, things were not okay. And I remember in the first time I invested in my business, like it was crazy. Like I thought it was absolutely crazy. But I was like, if not, like I was just also so sick and tired of like crying on the sofa, seeing other people that I knew become successful and me still just be in the idea stage. Like I was sick of my own excuses. And yeah, I just knew that if I wanted people to invest in me, if I wanted people to pay me for this jewelry, or pay me for my services, and I'm not willing to pay me, I'm not willing to put money into me, that's not aligned. So that was kind of the first kind of light bulb that went off in my mind. It's like, how can I expect people to pay me if I'm not willing to invest in me? And so it took really like making, quote unquote risk, spending more money than I ever thought like possible, and immediately saw results, like majorly. Like you know, I feel like there's like this whole thing in the coaching industry of like, getting rich overnight and blah, blah. And then some people saying like, people shouldn't share their stories about that because it's not fair to people who didn't see it overnight. But I did see it overnight. Like I did. And I'm not saying that's going to be everyone's journey, But for me, it was because I took such a fucking scary risk that I didn't think was even possible. And, then I just had all these manifestations. Like I got my first client, or my first two clients, and then I got laid off from, my boss told me, oh, the company's moving to New York, so you can just work from home. We'll pay you the same. And I was like, sweet. Now I can work on my business all day. And then I got my next few clients, and then I was kind of starting to get, consistent clients. And then I got laid off with like a huge severance so that I could go all in on my business. So it's like all these things started lining up for me. And had I never taken that first step, it wouldn't have happened. And I always say, like, everyone's journey is going to be different, right? Because your money journey is going to be different than my money journey and everyone else's. But the trick is to be moving energy forward towards the version of you that you want to be. And I know that's super cliche, but it's like you can try 100 things to make money happen, but it's going to be that like 101st or 102nd way that you didn't even think of that randomly makes the money fall in your lap. But you have to be taking steps towards the life that you want. And like I said, like I started as a jewelry business, like super random. And then all these people were basically like, let me pay you to help me start a business, So it's like, if you're moving energy forward, you just need to like start, and like the ideas, the opportunities, and all the other things will come if you're open to them.
Yeah, I talk about that a lot, the willingness to shift and knowing that things will evolve and change over time. And that I do see a lot of people getting stuck in that ideas phase and like, is it going to work, or is this exactly what I want to do? And then they get stuck there versus taking the inspired action and being okay with it evolving and changing over time.
Exactly. And there's such a and this is like the third eye chakra, right? Like this is like the connection to your inner guide. Because if you're in rigidity, and if you're like stuck in the masculine of if this, then this, when I work X amount of hours, I make X amount of dollars. Like it's like we need to unprogram all of that stuff and be open to quantum thinking. And in quantum thinking, there are lots of shifts and turns and things that don't seem like they make sense, but you just have to listen to them.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit more about that. We have been talking more about quantum on the podcast here. And um, when you say quantum thinking for you, how have you used quantum thinking in your life or in your business in ways that you're like, wait, that actually doesn't logically make sense, or on paper it doesn't make sense, but like there's something within me that knows that this is possible. So tell us a little bit more about quantum thinking.
Yeah, I mean, do you guys talk about like 3D, 4D, 5D consciousness?
We have a little bit, but let's do it.
You know what? This is how I really like explain quantum thinking, is that 5-dimensional consciousness. And again, to explain it in a linear way, 3D consciousness is that like in the box thinking. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it black? Is it white? Is it right? Is it wrong? It's like, it's just really like linear. And lots of labels and lots of judgments and lots of picking sides. I mean, gosh, like the election, for example, like, it says, are you this, are you that? And there's no in between, right? 4D is where people start to like wake up to, wow, like all of these structures and these things that have like made sense in my head, things that I thought were keeping me safe, or ways that I thought things were working, none of that's real. And you start to like tune in, and you start to listen, to your guidance more. But still in that 4-dimensional place, there's still a lot of fear. I call it like the dingy gas station on a road trip. Like you want to get what you need and you want to get out, because a lot of people get stuck in 4D. And this is like the angry conspiracy theorists. This is, and I believe in a lot of them, but like the angry ones that are like stuck in it, and just like, they're still not seeing the other side. 5D is when you see all the things. You see, I understand where the 3D people are coming from. I understand where the 4D people are coming from. All I see is love, and that's where I operate from. and not from like a spiritual bypassing place. Like there's still so much inner work and deep work that we do in 5D, but it's really about seeing things from all perspectives. And it's really like having like a bird's eye view of what's happening on Earth and seeing the bigger picture and knowing like, no, you don't have to pick a side. You don't have to, label things. And you can, but there's no judgment on the people that do. So, and how that works in business is, that really like quantum thinking of like, it doesn't have to be the way everyone else is doing it. And if we can really just tune inward, and I've been burned by this so many times where you hire a big agency or whatever, and you pay all this money for someone to like do something. And you're like, oh, like that's exactly how I would have done it. And I wouldn't have paid 50 grand for it. You know what I mean? So it's like, we really, when we listen to our inner guidance, that is and tap into our creativity. I want to use the word creativity as well. Like that is where our quantum expression can come through. And that is what works. Like that is our purpose. That is us being in flow. That is us being in purpose and alignment, rather than, oh, they do it this way and they, make X amount of dollars, or it takes this much time to do this, or like, it's like, you need to throw all that out the window and listen to your inner guidance system, and not only from the head, like from the heart. That's like the big difference, is listening to like those physical cues, tapping into your body. Thoughts can't solve, what's that saying? It's like your thoughts can't solve the same problem that created them, or I guess something like that. Like thoughts cause the problem. You can't solve the problem with your thoughts as well.
With your thoughts.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's like it has to come from that intuitive connection, which is felt so inwardly, so in your heart and in your soul. So it took a while for me to tap into that. It wasn't from day one in my business, that's for damn sure. But the evolution that I've seen and just the way that business feels now is just so different.
Yeah, I noticed that there's a drastic shift happening, whether it's in the coaching industry or just overall with, the shift that we're experiencing of consciousness, of the collective energy shifting from a patriarchal masculine way of doing things to integrating more of the embodied feminine, of not just how much money does this make, what structure do I need to follow, what strategy do I need, but also like, how does this feel in my body? What do I authentically and genuinely feel inspired? How do I want to show up? What type of impact do I want to make? Who do I want to be? All of these things, like that's more aligned with vibration and frequency, and the money and all the other things come with that. And I love that you've shared about this way of thinking, because we are moving into a new way of doing things.
And I think so one thing I see going on globally as well, though, is like the 4D of that is really shaming the masculine. And there's no place for that in 5D either. And in business, you actually need a balance of both. So it's not like, I'm going to be woohoo, like, meditating all day and the money's just going to come. Like, no, you do need some structure and you need to balance it out. And I feel like there's this whole toxic masculinity movement. Is toxic masculinity like a thing in some scenarios? 100%. But I feel like it's been like, now men are being shamed like constantly. So, and men are being told to go like more into their feminine than is natural for some of them. So it's like it's like listening inward. For me, I know that I naturally, and everyone's different, so I naturally lean towards a more feminine energy and definitely still masculine energy. And when I combine the both with a little bit more feminine than masculine, then that is when things work the best for me. and I can't shame myself for the days that I do want to get up and get to work and get in a spreadsheet. And, I'm not going to make myself feel bad for that. And I feel like so many people, and I've seen in the coaching world as well, is people like shaming people, being like, if you're doing funnels, then you are not honoring your femininity, like things. I'm just like, oh my gosh, can we just let people do what feels right for them?
Mm.
So just do, like, I think that's such an important thing right now, is like, understand your own energy and how you work best. Drown out the rest of the noise and let everyone tune in to like how you work, like let you turn into how you work best.
Mm-hmm.
And that's in relationships, that's in business, that's with everything. And you find too, like, it's the same thing in relationships. So for me, actually, I always suggest the book Intimate Communion by David Dida for anyone that's in a relationship. And it talks about the balance between feminine and masculine energies in a relationship, whether it's a male, female, female, male, male, they, whatever. It's like, it's in any relationship, you need to have a balance. And if someone slips more into their feminine, then the other person automatically rises up into their masculine in a situation. So knowing how to like balance yours, and you'll notice that the way that you feel most aligned in your business is going to be the same way that you feel most aligned in your relationship.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so happy that we got to this conversation, and thank you for bringing this to the table, because I have been really obsessed lately around the interconnectedness between how we show up in business and how we show up in relationships, both like the mindset as well as really the energetics of the relationship between those two. So we'll definitely be sharing more and more about that here on the podcast. And I'm so grateful for your voice in this conversation and for you sharing all of your magic and wisdom with us today. I know we just had like a snippet of it. So for everyone who wants to learn more about you, where's the best place that they can find you?
Yes, Instagram is my jam. So it's at Chakra Girl Co. And then the podcast is Chakra Girl Radio. And then if you want to take a fun little like pop culture chakra quiz and to find out what chakra is blocked, it's quiz.chakragirlco.com.
Who doesn't want to take a fun quiz, right? Specifically around chakras. I love that. Oh, well, thank you so much for being here. We'll make sure to link everything in the show notes, and I appreciate you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks.